Coming out of Nvidia's GTC 2026 conference, the channel is still digesting all the news around AI and semiconductors. Helping me sift through the noise on this episode of In Depth is CRN's own Silicon Savant senior editor, Dylan Martin. Dylan, what are your big takeaways from GTC 2026?
The big focus for NVIDIA this year is what it's calling the Vera Rubin platform. So this consists of the Vera CPU. They had a server CPU before, but it was based on more of a off-the-shelf design from ARM. And this is its first custom CPU core. So it's designing the CPU specifically for Agentic AI workloads. That's being paired then with the Rubin GPU. And this is the successor to Blackwell, which has been massively successful for NVIDIA. They call it the Vera Rubin platform because there's basically different product sets below that. So the Vera Rubin NVL72 server rack. And so that's basically 72 Rubin GPUs in one server rack. They're expanding the racks that they're making. So it's not just going to be this one rack with a bunch of GPUs and CPUs. They announced a new type of rack with a new type of processor. It's called the Grok 3 LPX, and that's GROQ, not to be confused with Elon Musk's chatbot AI thing. And so the Grok 3 LPX is a brand new rack that NVIDIA is developing. It's for AI. It's meant to go alongside the Vera Rubin NVL72 rack. And inside the Grok 3 LPX rack is what is called the Grok 3 LPU, which stands for Language Processing Unit. NVIDIA is going to be offering the Grok 3 LPX rack alongside the Vera Rubin NVL72 rack. They'll be networked together very tightly. And NVIDIA is claiming that they can boost throughput for a 1 trillion parameter GPT model by 35 times compared to the previous generation Blackwell NVL72 rack. They also announced a Vera CPU rack. It's like well over 200 CPUs in one rack, it's a lot of CPUs. And the purpose is because of Agentic AI, there's a need for what's called sandbox execution, where you're doing tool calling, you're doing database queries or compilation of code. And that's actually stuff that is better done by a CPU. And so we've seen this with Intel suddenly having shortages of CPUs, AMD seeing a lot of demand of its CPUs. And so NVIDIA is also seeing the importance of CPUs. For a long time, we were just seeing lots and lots of GPUs go into AI data centers. And now the ratio is changing where for some of them, at least, there's going to be a lot more CPUs than previously thought. The other hardware announcement was the BlueField-4 STX. And so this is storage rack, but it's actually a reference architecture. Vast Data, DDN, Lenovo, Dell, anyone that's making storage appliances and storage hardware, they will take this reference architecture. Existing storage solutions do create some bottlenecks with how fast AI models can produce tokens. This is another way of them going after bottlenecks for those workloads. And then the other thing that was a big announcement, OpenClaw. They're like always on self-evolving agents. It's been like a wild west because there's an open source thing. Jensen announced Nvidia NemoClaw, which is an open source stack that adds privacy and security controls to OpenClaw. It's in testing right now, but Jensen was even just quoted as saying like he believes that OpenClaw is the next ChatGPT. So they're trying to get ahead of it already.
That's incredible. And I would much prefer like the claw suffix over GPT is definitely like easier to say. Tell me, Dylan, what would you say is the most important piece of information for solution providers? Where should they go from here?
Yeah, so I think what has happened over the last few years is that NVIDIA has put a lot of resources into making sure that they have the best hardware for running these AI workloads. And so we're starting to be in this cycle where they will put out hardware, but it's going to be for the most advanced customers first. I did talk to Craig Weinstein, who is the NVIDIA America's channel chief, and he said that he does see it as a channel play over time because he believes there will be enterprise interest, and it will probably be a little more advanced enterprise customers. So we'll see that in the channel eventually. The Vera CPU rack, the channel chief was saying that he sees it as more of a specialized opportunity. Granted, when he says specialized, He's talking about the biggest and most influential customers. So like Meta and CoreWeave, for instance, sign up as early customers for dedicated Vera CPU servers. But at the same time, we had some of the biggest OEMs announce that they will be offering their own dedicated Vera CPU offerings. So that's Dell, HPE, Cisco, Lenovo, Supermicro. So there will be different OEM configurations. So it will be a channel play over time. And one other thing that was interesting about the Vera CPU situation is that, it is an ARM-based CPU, so it's not x86 like Intel or AMD. And an executive at Lenovo, Vlad Razanovich, was telling me that there is going to be a heavy lift on software that's involved. So it may not appeal as much to traditional enterprises just because they're so enmeshed in the x86 world still. But, he does see the transition happening over time. But, so it might be more opportunistic in the immediate future. BlueField-4 STX storage reference architecture, that can definitely be a channel play as well. Maybe more immediately because there are channel partners who are already selling these rack scale platforms like the Grace Blackwell NVL72. They will probably sell the Vera Rubin NVL72. Some of these channel partners, I think of like WWT, for instance, they already have these capabilities of delivering rack scale products. And Nvidia's take on OpenClaw, NemoClaw, I believe Nvidia will be making it top of mind for channel partners throughout the year. It's not channel ready right now. Craig Weinstein told me that they're going to be developing blueprints so that, they can get enterprises started more quickly with what's the software that you need to get this running? How does it run optimally on NVIDIA infrastructure? And he was talking about, we want to make sure we have the right security capabilities and functionality, and then we want our partners to encourage enterprise customers to adopt it. So that's definitely another thing to be looking out for.
That's a great preview of things to come. I feel the AI downstream cycle and just overall adoption cycle is just moving so fast that maybe we'll see timelines speed up faster than anyone would anticipate for the stuff to move to the channel and move to smaller customers. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Dylan, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of In Depth. For more on our semiconductor coverage, please visit crn.com.